Howdy there folks, it's Geist, and in today's video we are starting on my desktop because, bam! If you haven't already seen it, when the Edge of Fate, the next expansion, comes out, we have a new bow archetype that we're getting, the High Impact Longbow. We're not going to dive into all the perks yet because we don't know, well, we know what they are, but I'm going to wait until we've got like a nice, something that I can look at to show you all this, like D2 Foundry or whatever, or in game, something like that. But either way, we're not going to worry about the perks. All that you need to know is that this new archetype has a very slow draw and a much higher impact. Now, interestingly, and of course, by default, it has over-penetrating arrows, which is kind of neat. Interestingly, there are two other bows in the game that already have stats just like this, but they do not quite yet exist in that archetype. And that is Wishender and Hierarchy of Needs. Now, both of them have that 92 impact. They both have a draw time that is up in the 700s. In fact, Wishender's is even slower at a whopping 820. But I strongly believe that these two bows are going to be in this archetype. Why do I think this? Well, a while back, when bows got all those balance changes, something strange happened to Wishender and Hierarchy of Needs. I noticed it, but I kind of just kept it to myself, and I didn't really say anything because it didn't really seem super important at the time. I may have mentioned it offhandedly once or twice, but the nature of their draw changed. So it used to be with Wishender and Hierarchy. I'll just show you. Perfectly drawn shot does 83 damage to the body. If I let the draw fail, it still does 83 damage to the body. So basically, they have no overdraw. Wishender does the exact same thing. On a headshot, it's a little bit different. Fully drawn shot does 133. I'm going to let their health come back. And charging, let it fail. 132. It only loses one. Used to be they were a lot different. And furthermore, the other thing that's kind of interesting is, watch this. I'm just going to tap the arrow. 81. Now remember, a perfectly drawn one was 83. For bows like this, it used to be a much different difference there. Like, it was a much greater difference. But the fact of the matter is now that there's almost no difference between a freaking tap fire and a perfectly drawn shot. And there's no difference between an overdrawn shot and a perfectly drawn shot. At least not especially to the body, which is the only thing that matters. The reason that body shots are the only things I care about right now are this new bow right here that we've seen footage of now deals 126 damage to the body based on some of the footage we've seen from people using it. Now, that could have been with the new armor stat, not armor stat, the new weapon stat, excuse me. It is a stat on your armor that boosts weapon damage. But it's only a 6% bonus in PvP. So even if they had that completely maxed out, this would still deal roughly 118 or 119 to the body. So that means this bow can just intrinsically double body no matter what, even though it is a little bit slower. Now, does that really matter? Does it matter if we can double body if the bows are ridiculously slow? Because the TTK on these bows is like a 1.5. Well, it does matter because you can just do something like this. You can draw, and then you can just kind of draw. Almost a tap fire. You can draw just a teeny tiny little bit, and it's going to kill in roughly like 1 second. Now, there is a bit of a bug right now. I'm not actually going to show you my measurements for TTKs on Wishender or this bow until after the changes because we want to be sure that that's actually what's happening. And there's a bit of a delay, a weird bug. It's a delay whenever you're using one of these bows where sometimes the damage doesn't kick in right away. Like, the arrow will hit them and then the damage actually occurs a little bit later. Their health bar actually takes the hit. And that happened a good bit when I was trying to slow this down and see what the actual TTK for these bows was right now. Plus, there's really no reason to measure that right now anyways, as I said, because the change hasn't actually happened. I'm hoping that Bungie is going to talk a little bit more about some stuff that's going to be happening with Edge of Fate tomorrow in the TWAB. That'll give us more to talk about, but for the time being, I just wanted to tell you guys that this is really freaking cool that we're getting this new type. And I strongly, strongly, strongly suspect that Wishender and Hierarchy of Needs are getting transformed or moved over into this new type. Because it's just a little bit too convenient. The stats are just way too freaking similar. And this one in particular is going to be pretty neat because we're going to have a little bit more control over the stats of it. Most importantly, I think the reload is going to be the most important stat. We're going to want to get that as high as possible, which is why you see me wearing Ophidians right here. I also have on, well, I have on one loader, but you want to get that reload as high as possible. And that's pretty much it. I know this isn't a whole lot to go on right now, but I'm definitely super excited about this, and I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. My prediction for this new archetype of bow is that it's going to be more aggressive in Crucible. It's going to allow us to play a lot more aggressively, because in game, you can have to get right up on somebody and you're just going to start tap fire like that. And that person would be dead. And that's a fairly quick death, all things considered. Now, you don't have a whole lot of velocity when we're doing stuff like that, but that velocity right there is actually not too bad. Because remember, this weird hybrid archetype, as they are right now, have a little bit quicker velocity than, say, something like a Precision. Which, if you tap fire a Precision, I mean, it's basically just, it's kind of random where it's landing. You can kind of see it's got a little bit more of a spread there. But if I'm using this one, it shoots just a little bit higher and it shoots just a little bit faster. Especially if I just kind of draw it a teeny bit. If you draw it just a teeny bit, it's got all the velocity you need. And you don't need to have a ton of velocity because you just got to hit somebody. And it's going to work really, really well. They're going to kill suspiciously fast. It's just going to take a little bit of a skill gap. However, you're also going to have to be a lot closer. You're not going to be able to do this as consistently from far away. So I think this new bow archetype is going to incentivize more aggressive plays to be able to actually get the most out of them. And that excites me. I don't want any more, long-range plinking because a lot of people hate that style. It slows the game down. It's boring. And I think a lot of bow players hate that too. I would love to see a lot more aggressive playstyles exist. As it is right now, the most aggressive thing we have is Archer's Gambit, just because it can shoot so fast. But it would be pretty cool for us to have something else, and especially something with more forgiveness, because of course that's going to allow you to play a little bit more aerial and miss your shots like that, but you can be a little bit more mobile with it, which I think will be really neat. And we'll do some more playtesting with it when the bow, of course, comes out. We're going to do a full deep dive on it. I'll do an in-depth review on the new bow, and I'll have a lot to say about it. I'll have better info, of course, once I actually get the thing in my hands. But I'm super excited about this. Just wanted to go ahead and talk about the new bow archetype because I think it's pretty neat. And I look forward to showing you guys a bunch of cool stuff with it. It's just a shame we've got to wait, like a month for it to come out. But that's okay. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.